I debated about how I should reveal your surprise to you for a long time. I thought of several ways, and I was like, let's see, I could do it this way. I guess I can't really explain the ways I thought of revealing it to you without actually telling you what it is. So, without further ado, here is your surprise.
Not everyone chooses wisely, but that is the way it was meant to be. The way it should be. The way it will always be. Bobby Pendragon got what he wished for. A little more time. When it ended, he could look back and know in his heart that he had spent it wisely. It was time for him to return to Solara. Courtney would soon follow. However, before that final journey could be made, he had to be prepared. For that, he had to read. Can't put my finger on it, Bobby said, but I'm kind of excited about hearing this story. Then we shouldn't waste another second. Courtney climbed into bed, leaned back into the pillow with Bobby, made sure they were both comfortable, and unfurled the scroll. In a clear, confident voice, she began to read. Journal number 1. Denderon. I hope you're reading this, Mark.
Awesome, huh? I finished Pendragon. I finished Pendragon. That's right. I finished Pendragon. How you doing? Alright, so your surprise also came with a list of questions. A very well put together list of questions that I've been wondering about this book since I read each passage, well, listened to each passage that just, they sparked these random questions, and I was like, what? So I'm going to attempt to do a handstand while asking one of these questions, and then each question after that I will be doing something very strange in the middle of asking. And I expect you to do the same when answering. Alright, right now I'm doing a one-handed handstand, and it is very difficult, so I need to ask this question very fast. Pendragon always seems to say something along the lines of, I need, these journals are for recording everything. All the details about everything I do, so I need to say these things. And he talks about his personal feelings. How many times do you think he masturbated during that time that he didn't talk about? And if he did talk about it, what would it be like? Would it be something like, I stroked my penis as I thought about Laura. Oh God, I don't even want to think about it. Oh God, I'm falling over. This is impossible. Like, Question number 2 I'm asking while hiding under a blanket. If Saint Dane knew that he could travel through territories just by taking a step and thinking about it, why did he not do that on Ivera? Or, sorry, I meant to call it Ivara, what it's really called, but the retarded audiobook guy kept calling it Ivera, so I kind of got used to it. Anyway, when he was on Ivara, why didn't he just travel the real traveler way instead of using the flumes? In which case he would have successfully trapped Bobby on Ivara, and he never would have been able to get off, and Saint Dane would have won very easily. Retarded, in my opinion. The next question I'm not sure about, but either way, I'm gonna ask while wearing a hat. So anyway, the question is, I'm not sure, maybe I missed something, but why didn't Bobby tell Siri that Twig was still alive? He just like randomly came back and he lived and he told him the stuff and all that stuff and whatnot. But I don't recall him ever telling Siri. Why is that? Did you just like forget? Did he just, is he like, Siri doesn't need to know. I mean, like, it's his best friend, but who cares? I didn't quite understand that one.
How many times do you think Bobby said, my head's fun?
Yes, that's right. Like she said, I'm just repeating it because it might sound a little weird. Um, how many times in that entire book, because it seemed to say it a lot, do you think Bobby said, "My head spun"? I mean, like, every time anything surprising happened, which was a lot in those 10 books, it always says something along the lines of, "My head spun. I couldn't see straight," and blah, 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 blah. How many times in the entire book do you think he said that? This one's along the same lines, but I'm going to ask you while not paying attention and pretending to be depressed. How many times do you think Bobby said, "He hesitated. That was all I needed. It was the brief moment that I needed to make my move," or something like that? It just seems to me like he said that a little too often. I mean, do people hesitate that much? And does it give him like the 1 second that he needed every time? Okay, this one's not really a question, so I'm not really doing anything weird. This one's just... You have to listen to this, because it made me laugh when I first heard it. It's when they're going to Morage to see if the exiles are there. At least I think that's what was happening. I listened to the last 7, 8, 9, and 10. 4 books. Yeah, I listened to the last 4 books in a row, and so, yeah, it's kind of mind-numbing. But, yeah, so they're on their way to Morage, and it said this.
It was hard to judge distance on rolling hills. It's not like there were signposts saying, "Moorage this way," or "Only 5 miles to Moorage."
Only 5 miles to Moorage. Alright, this one I'm going to do while messaging you, even though you're probably sleeping because it's like 3 a.m. at home. But if the spirits of Solara are able to put you where you are when you need to be there, why did they put him there, like, exactly at the moment when there was a quake, like, right in front of the door? I mean, the gate to the flume. And I kind of understand why, because he killed it, but he got hurt, and this is how he just, like, he figured out the travelers could heal each other, and that ended up saving Patrick, so I guess that makes sense, but it's kind of an asshole thing to do, you think? I mean, like, he could have figured it out when it happened to Patrick. Wouldn't have let him die. So, yeah. This one, I can't even think of something weird to be doing while I'm doing this one because it's exactly the same as the other one. How many times do you think he said, "I had killed the Dado," or it was deactivated, or whatever? I wanted to kick the author. Yeah, I wanted to kick DJ McHale. Okay, that's not true. It's just the way the guy said it, the audiobook. I love DJ McHale because I've met him twice. But still, I really feel like that got annoying. This one I'll ask you in a funny voice while balancing a coin on my nose. Actually, I'll save the funny voice for the next one because if they created the Travelers as like their last hope, why did they make Patrick such a shitty traveler? I reeled back. He was sent reeling. I'm gonna reel in your ass because you've said that way too many times. This one I'll ask inside of a Chinese medicine shop. If Bobby or St. Game can turn into anything, why do they always turn into Smoke or a Raven? Why not like King Kong or a dragon or something? That's what I'd do. You could just go in, kill all the Dados as it's creationism, whatever you think you are, and then all the Dados are dead, and so you simply win. Seems a lot easier than turning into Smoke to get through a door or something. And they probably use the same amount of Solara energy, so... How you doing? Not a question, but I'm recording this now because I want to not forget it, and it's in my list of things that I should tell you. Want to write... Well, actually, it would take forever, and I don't actually want to do it, but it would be really cool to read. Or maybe we could do it. I don't know. Tell me what you think. A whole new Pendragon from Saint Dane's point of view, up to the point where he died, and then, like, maybe he goes back to Dark Solara because, like, there's still strength left or something, and he writes down his journal. I don't know. I mean, at least up to the end. That'd be cool to have a journal from his point of view. This one I'll ask with my ass in the air. So if Bobby and
all the rest of the travelers barely had enough stuff left to make that flume, and like they were flickering while it was being made. How did creating one flume completely drain Saint Dane's power? I feel like he should have still had plenty left over, because he was doing really well up until then. No.
Next question I'm going to ask while jacking off. If Uncle Press and the rest of Solara is able to choose when Bobby gets to all the destinations through the flumes, and Uncle Press had said that it was a mistake to bring Tak to Ivara, and in turn he also helped like create the destruction of Solara and stuff. Why didn't he just make Bobby appear after the war so that it would have happened the way it was supposed to, and he never would have had to use the Tak or any of the other stuff that shouldn't have been on the territory? That seems to make a little more sense to me. Maybe Uncle Press is just an idiot. This one I'm going to ask you while just being dead serious, because this one pissed me off. If he could turn into anything... I said before, why doesn't he turn into, like, King Kong or, like a dragon or something, but... why doesn't he turn into Saint Dane? Duh! He could walk into the Ravinian place unharmed because the Datos would have no idea. He could sneak up there and be like, hey, guys, this is what's happening. You should, like, not do this because of this reason. They'd be like, you're right. Because they figured it out at the end, so if Saint Dane told them himself, why would they think any differently? So they could have just been like, yeah, so this is what's going on, and you're kind of, like, killing people, and it's kind of bad, and you're free to leave if you want. And then I'd be like, yeah, you dude over there, disarm all the Datos. And then Saint Dane would be like, no, I'm furious, but they'd already have changed their mind, and so they would have just, that story would have ended there. So I kind of feel like... huge flaw. There could have been like limits or something to what they could do. Like they could only turn into smoke, and Saint Dane never turned into a raven, but then Ravinia wouldn't have come about. I don't know. Tell me what you think. So I just realized that was the last of my questions, and so I have a couple more things to say though. I was listening to that ending of the book. I have to admit that wasn't the first time I had heard it. I heard it and then I re-recorded the last minute of it, but still. I was listening to that maybe the last 5 minutes of the book, maybe, a little more than that, maybe the last 20 minutes of the book, and I was thinking, maybe there was a reason that I took this long to read the book series. It took about 4 years for me to read it, and Bobby went from 14 to 18, so I was just trying to follow Bobby's ways. I was trying to see what it was like to be him. I started it when I was 14. I think I was 14. We were in 8th grade. So anyway, I was listening to that, and first thing I thought of was, this series, he was able to create 10 books about a dragon with a pen stuck up its ass. So, my lovely buds, Jake, I'm sure that was probably pretty boring for you, because you obviously haven't read the book about the dragon with the pen stuck up its ass. But as for you, James, I love you.